Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hey, this is Chris from Play Comics, a show that looks at video games based on comic properties and how well they represent that source material. Also, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a show where we're looking at things that are released in the greater Marvel universe and sometimes going back and looking at old stuff. And depending on when this is released, either a future or a recently released show called Sugar, Spite, and Everything is Fine, where Carrington Martin and I are looking at media that we consumed as children mostly, and how all the lessons we learned from that media are somehow expected to be things that we forget about here in the adult world. That media that you experience as a kid, it makes a giant impact on you. It really sets the stage for everything that you're looking for as you get older, as you go forward in what you're consuming and stuff. And for me, one of those really early games that I liked, that I just completely fell in love with, was Kirby's Dream Land for the original Game Boy. Not only was this one of the first games for me, this was the first game for Kirby, but not Kirby as we know him today. That would be too easy for this. What we have here instead is like a pre-Kirby Kirby. You have Kirby where on the box art he's white because they didn't know what color he was going to be yet. You have a Kirby who can't absorb the powers of enemies. Just suck them in, shoot them out, and that's it. You have a Kirby that has like all of the essence, but almost there, not close enough of the Kirby that we've all come to love today. The Kirby that my brother hates playing against in Smash Brothers. The Kirby that everybody thinks of as your cute little guy who is just wanting to go around getting food and saving the kingdom from Dedede, which, hey, guess what? There's only one game where Dedede is actually the final boss, and that's Kirby's Dream Land. This little thing for the original Game Boy. The big influential games for me were this and The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. And you can go back and listen to my side quest about that. But this one followed kind of a different path. Where Legend of Zelda was, hey, let me, play this thing. It's nice and super long, and I won't touch it again until I've kind of forgotten how to get through everything and I can almost replay it again for the first time. Kirby was a game that I loved just going back through. It was one where I would try to get a better score. I would try to get through it faster. I would try to get through it taking fewer hits from everything. And it's so easy to get through this game. Like, this game is it's so simple, but it's so fun, and I don't care. The first level here, Green Greens, it's almost the perfect introductory level, I think, because you go through and it's nice, simple enemy placement. It's easy to get through everything. There's not a ton of stuff that's going to jump out and surprise kill you. Even when you get to that giant tree boss, the super iconic Kirby enemy outside of Dedede and maybe Meta Knight now, it's just so simple. I discovered really early on, all I had to do was stand right under the boss, right under the mouth there, and I could just collect the apples from there and I wouldn't have to worry about getting hit. It's so easy, but how fast can I do it? How easily can I get through everything? Am I able to take this game into the bathroom with me and beat the entire game before somebody comes and starts knocking on the door telling me to hurry up because they have to go use the bathroom too? There's only 4 levels really in this game. 4.5, I don't know, however you want to count it, because you have your opening Green Greens level, you have your Castle Lolo level, you have your Float Islands level, and you have your Bubbly Clouds level. Just going through all of these, it's so simple, and I love it. It's a game that my dad would play every once in a while, my brother would play every once in a while. I would sit here and I would play this game over and over and over. It's maybe the first game I had, one of the few games that I will still want to just immediately start it over once I finish the game. And the reason I'm saying it has like a fifth or maybe just a half of an extra level is because the last level is really just a boss rush. You go through a super short little thing to get to the boss of each of the previous 4 levels and you fight them, and then you fight Dedede. So, count that as a level if you want or not. I don't know, but it didn't matter. This thing was just so much fun. This game was why I had a piece of paper taped to the inside of the shoebox that I was using as the case for all of my Game Boy stuff, where I would put my high scores of things. This game really, like, all the new Kirby games are great. And, I like being able to get powers, but there's something about Origins of things that just really fascinates me. Knowing that this game is almost kind of like a test case for what future Kirby was able to bring us, I think is just a really great way of looking at it. And it really bothers me that a lot of people now will look at this game, compare it to all the other Kirby games, and say, oh, it doesn't have the power absorbing ability. It doesn't have the ability to save the game, so it's bad. But they're not looking at it in the context of this came first. That other stuff just did not exist yet. I don't know if it was in the plan for the developers or not, but I don't know if it was something that the Game Boy cartridges just couldn't handle doing for whatever reason. But there is just some charming little thing about this game to where I can go back to it. And the songs are just so easy to get stuck in your head. And they're great. And I love them. And there is nothing bad about this game at all. Unless you're going to be one of those people that says, you have to have Kirby with the power absorbing and stuff. But outside of that, this is just a beautiful little game. And I love it. And it's great. And I actually sit through the credits on it because there's things happening as the credits go through. And oh man, like I'm probably going to go play this game again after I finish recording this because it's just that good. If you want to play it now, go fire up your Switch with your Nintendo Online stuff and do it. If you have it on the 3DS virtual store, I'm pretty sure it was in there too. But, just find a way to grab this game and go play Kirby as it originally was. I'm not going to sit here and say it was better. And, evidenced by the fact that I'm making this, I'm not going to sit here and say it was worse. It's Kirby beta. You can't really hold being a beta against something. Yes, it was a game that was released. Yes, it was a finished product, but this is also just a little Game Boy game doing what it can on the Game Boy. But this is also a big reason to buy the Game Boy. You could have somebody who said they really wanted Link's Awakening, but you could also have parents who came out and said, oh no, you have a Zelda game already. You can't get this one. For almost a year, this Kirby was the only Kirby that existed. And there were none of those what it's lacking arguments even available because they didn't exist out in the world yet. So I'm telling you, just go out, find a way to find this original Kirby game, Kirby's Dream Land, and go play it. Because I promise when you're done playing it, whether you beat the game or not, and I really think you can because it's a relatively short game, but you're going to be sitting there, you're going to be happy with yourself, and it's just going to be such a good time. And with all that, there's only one thing I can say to you: happy gaming. In a world where there's often 60 plus years of history to worry about, how can you quickly get into a new comic character or franchise? If you're like me, then you turn to video games. But how well does that work out? In some cases, pretty well. In others, it's a giant disaster. But how can you know which games will set you on the right path and which games will just leave you more confused than you were before? Play Comics is the show for you. I'm Chris, and each episode we take a look at video games based on comic properties and how well they stick to that source material. So listen in and get the scoop on which games are worth your time over at playcomics.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.